Chapter 51 Piccolo's idea hits the sun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Their combined attacks only seem to anger Shy Ghost even more. I've always wanted to take out anyone who saw my face, and now this. Shy Ghost charged, moving faster than the speed of sound, the force crushing everything in its path. What the? Why is this thing so pissed all of a sudden? Krillin's eyes nearly popped out of his head, sweat pouring down his face. Keep attacking, Leaping yelled. They continued to pummel the Shy Ghost, but all they managed to do was push it back. Nothing seemed to hurt it. Piccolo held back, recovering his strength and trying to figure out a plan. Damn it, how do we get rid of this monster? Piccolo's expression was grim. The Scions could show up any minute, but he had to deal with this thing first. He didn't want to die, he thought hard, but nothing came to mind. Irritated, Piccolo glanced around, then he saw it, the sun. Wait a minute. The sun. That's it, an idea sparked in Piccolo's mind. It was risky, but it might just work. Everyone, fly up. We're gonna blast this thing toward the sun. Piccolo took off immediately, the others followed without question. Piccolo, you want us to fly up there? Krillin shrieked. Yeah. The sun's got more energy than we do. I don't believe this monster can survive a trip to the sun, Piccolo stated with a confidence he didn't quite feel. It's catching up, Kaiotsu pointed frantically behind them. The Shy Ghost was chasing them through the air, its movements still freakishly fast. That's one weird way to fly, Tien Shinhan muttered, watching its movements. Now's not the time to worry about that, Piccolo snapped, speeding up. The others followed suit, flying as fast as they could. Shy Ghost roared, seeing Piccolo pull ahead. It poured on the speed, determined to take him down. Piccolo could feel the pressure, sweat beading on his forehead. When did I, Piccolo, ever get chased like this? Damn monster, they broke through the Earth's atmosphere. Any higher, and they wouldn't be able to breathe. They stopped. Shy Ghost, seeing its target within reach, lunged. Whoosh, Piccolo and the others vanished, reappearing behind Shy Ghost in a flash. They punched it in the back, sending it hurtling toward the sun. Hit it with everything you've got, Piccolo roared, his body swelling with power. He slammed his palms together, unleashing a massive energy wave. The others joined in, firing their own blasts. Shy Ghost was hammered by the combined attack, pushed relentlessly toward the sun. It tried to fight back, but the onslaught was too much. It struggled desperately. Shy Ghost was furious. It watched itself being pushed further and further away from Piccolo, struggling harder, growing stronger. Driven to the edge, Shy Ghost's power exploded. Boom! It detonated the energy wave with sheer force. The explosion tore at its muscles, but they regenerated almost instantly. Just as Shy Ghost was about to resume the chase, it was engulfed in flames, a tremendous gravitational force pulling it backward. It was too close to the sun. The inferno consumed Shy Ghost. Once they were sure Shy Ghost's energy had entered the sun, Piccolo and the others flew back toward Earth. The environment up here was unbearable. Uncle Piccolo, do you think we got rid of it? Gohan asked nervously. Yeah, the sun's surface is over 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The core is millions more. I don't see how that monster can survive that kind of heat. Piccolo said, but a nagging doubt lingered in his mind. Where did that thing come from, anyway? Why haven't we ever heard of it? Tien Shinhan asked. I have no idea. Piccolo wasn't about to explain anything about containment. Either way, it's taken care of. We could use the same trick on the Scions. Just push them into the sun. Krillin suggested. That might not work. They're not stupid enough to fall for that. Piccolo scoffed. Their success depended on the Shy Ghost's lack of intelligence. I wouldn't have chased anyone all the way here. Vegeta. Yeah, you're right. That trick worked on that thing, but it won't work on me. Piccolo, don't get cocky. I've got other ways to deal with you. Goku, that's right. Piccolo, you gotta hold him off. I'm on my way, Tony Stark. More than that, I want to know where you guys got enough energy to send that thing into the sun. That is so far, Goku, it's simple, you just keep firing ki blasts. Nick Fury, what kind of explanation is that, Ancient One, the rules of each universe are different. Thinking too much about it is just trouble. In the Dragon Ball universe, the Scion spaceship neared Earth. They should be arriving soon. I figured these containment objects would be an easy bunch of guys, Vegeta scoffed. Beep 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 beep, his scouter went crazy. 20,000. 50,000. 100,000. How is that even possible? Vegeta detected a massive power level in the distance. It was over 100,000 and rising. And it seemed to be coming from the sun. Don't tell me that thing is still alive. Almost as soon as he thought it, the energy signature began moving rapidly toward Earth, its power level now exceeding hundreds of thousands. Vegeta was terrified. Chapter 52 Shock from all walks of life, but luckily it didn't happen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How the heck did that happen? Vegeta stared at the readings on his scouter, his face a mask of disbelief. The power level was already in the hundreds of thousands and still climbing. He'd only seen numbers that scary with Frieza. Ugh, the thought of Frieza filled Vegeta with dread. The insane reading, over 500,000, was enough to keep him rooted in place, terrified to get any closer. Hey! Vegeta, you seeing this? Nappa's voice crackled through the scouter. Something's heading towards Earth from the sun, and its power level is almost as high as Lord Frieza's. What is going on? Nappa's voice was laced with pure terror. How could a monster that powerful suddenly appear? Should they even bother getting closer to Earth? Vegeta was speechless. He, the proud Scion Prince, was genuinely scared out of his mind. What kind of freak is this thing? On Earth, Piccolo and the others had just landed when they sensed something terrifying and looked up at the sky, fear etched on their faces. Oh my god, what kind of monster is that? How is it still alive? Krillin was shaking so hard his teeth were chattering. No way, it's the freaking sun. How isn't it burning to a crisp? Yamcha's eyes darted back and forth, unable to process what he was seeing. As they watched in horror, the creature crashed to Earth like a meteor, boom, boom, boom. The impact was devastating. The shockwave ripped outwards, flattening everything in its path and tearing up the Earth. Countless people were instantly vaporized. When the dust settled, the landscape within miles was a wasteland of rubble. Even Piccolo was shaken by the sheer destructive force. Arg! A familiar, chilling roar echoed through the crater. A burning skeleton stood, engulfed in flames, howling at the sky. Then, the flames vanished, and muscles and flesh rapidly regenerated, restoring the creature to its original, monstrous form, a shy guy. Don't look at its face, Piccolo yelled, warning the others. Krillin and the others immediately averted their eyes, keeping their gazes firmly on the ground. Piccolo, however, locked eyes with the shy guy, instantly met with its raging, murderous intent. Iowa. The shy guy charged at Piccolo. While not as fast as its descent from the sun, the energy it was radiating was even greater than Piccolo's or Vegeta's. The spectators from other worlds were stunned. Tony Stark, no way. The surface of the sun is thousands of degrees, and the core is millions. How can that thing survive? Nick Fury, believe it or not, that's what's happening. Human power is nothing against this monster. Luffy, the sun is 16 million degrees. Whoa! Even hotter than Ace. Kizaru, in that case, even Akainu's lava wouldn't touch it. Warring States, thank God that thing didn't show up in our world. We'd be toast. Warring States was practically holding his breath. He'd been eager to get his hands on a contained object for the rewards, but now he was wishing none of them would ever appear. Leo World Fengyuan was frozen in place, his mouth agape as he stared at the screen. What the hell is that thing? The sun couldn't kill it. Even Ultraman would die getting that close. The Ultra Garrison members were in similar shape, gasping for air. They were just glad they were alone, or they'd be drawing a crowd. Even Ultraman at full power probably couldn't take that thing down. As much as they hated to admit it, that's how they all felt. Shy Guys were just too scary. Naruto world. Naruto was terrified. His excitement over controlling the nine-tailed fox was gone. Compared to that monster, the Nine Tails was nothing. That's awful. Good thing it's not here. Jiraiya was breathing heavily. He'd been so confident after unlocking the Sage of Six Paths power, but now he felt small and afraid. Our only shot is to keep it from seeing our faces. Tsunade said, sweat beading on her forehead. I wonder if Genjutsu would work. Maybe we could trick it into thinking it's already killed us. Jiraiya pondered, already thinking of strategies. Of course, the best strategy was to just avoid it. Marvel, Camartage. If being thrown into the sun doesn't kill it, what will? Wong's eyes darted back and forth. He couldn't imagine a way to destroy it. The other magic apprentices were petrified. How could they possibly win against something like that? They all looked to their only hope, the Ancient One. The Ancient One stared intently at the Shy Guy on the screen. My best guess is to use demonic energy. If that doesn't work, we might have to erase all memory of it and seal it away. Her words offered some comfort. With the Ancient One around, they could at least feel a little safer, but even as she spoke, the Ancient One had a nagging feeling that this was not the Shy Guy's final form. Asgard, the Asgardian warriors were speechless, their jaws practically on the floor. They'd fought all over the 9 realms for centuries, and they'd never seen anything like this. Brother, you still think you could take that thing? Loki asked, a smirk on his face. Thor was at a loss for words. He couldn't even get near the sun. How could he beat something that came from it? For the first time, the usually arrogant Thor was relieved that he'd never encountered something so terrifying. Father Odin, could you stand against that? Frigga asked Odin. All eyes turned to the king of the 9 realms. If he couldn't beat it, who could? Odin thought for a moment. I'm not sure. But perhaps I could find a way to control it. The answer didn't inspire much confidence. Enough, Odin said, sensing his authority being challenged. It doesn't appear in our realm, so there's no need to dwell on it. The more pressing matter is the Frost Giant's intrusion into our vault. We must discover how they bypassed our defenses. Father, let me lead the charge, Thor eagerly volunteered. He needed to blow off some steam after witnessing the Shy Guy's rampage, and the Frost Giants were the perfect target. Chapter 53 Piccolo's Last Resort, Actively Seeking Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No, not now. Odin rejected Thor's request immediately. Why? Our territory was invaded. Why aren't we fighting back? Thor demanded, confused. Things aren't clear yet. Odin snapped. What's not clear? The Frost Giants are disrespecting us. We need to strike back now. That's what a king would do. Thor was completely baffled by Odin's hesitation. Odin's displeasure was instant. You're not the king. I am still the king of Asgard, and I said no. That's final. Odin's words were heavy, silencing everyone. Thor, deflated, couldn't argue. Odin scoffed, then turned back to the screen, curious how the Dragon Ball universe would handle this monster. DC Universe. Bruce Wayne was breathing heavily, struggling to regain his composure. A monster the sun couldn't destroy. Terrifying. Thank God it wasn't in his world. He wouldn't know how to fight it. The only way to contain it is to wait for it to calm down and then lock it in the mirror dimension. There's no other way. He tried to suppress his fear. Batman, have you finally lost it? What are you muttering about? What are you so scared of? Bane, tied up and badly injured, glared at Batman. He'd thought the Knight Rider costume was some new trick, but he'd been taken down instantly. He was furious. Dressed like that, you finally cracked. Shut up. Batman yelled, punching Bane unconscious. Then he heard sirens and vanished into the mirror dimension apartment. Diana looked grim. The Shy Guy was even scarier than she'd imagined. even with the blessings of gods, she couldn't get close to the sun without consequences. What is that thing? Diana was disturbed, but grateful she hadn't encountered it. She wondered what the Dragon Ball people would do. Of everyone watching, Doraemon was probably the only one still calm. Nobita, meanwhile, was out cold from fright. Okay, I wonder if my gadgets can calm it down, or maybe teleport it somewhere else. Doraemon checked his supplies, more carefully than ever. Dragon Ball World. Krillin and the others trembled, heads bowed. Piccolo's words had left them without hope. They didn't know what to do. Are we going to die? Are we going to be killed by this thing before the Scions even get here? Tien Shinhan clenched his fists, defeated. He felt the monster getting closer, but he was too scared to run. The monster's energy had completely crushed him. There's only one way. Piccolo's voice cut through the fear. He stared at the approaching Shy Guy, determination in his eyes. Then he charged. Everyone was shocked, including the viewers in other worlds. Just when they thought Piccolo had a plan, he stopped right in front of the Shy Guy and closed his eyes. The Shy Guy slashed Piccolo across the chest, then swiped at his head. Piccolo's neck snapped, and his head went flying. Green blood spurted from his neck. Everyone was horrified. No one expected Piccolo to just give up. Naruto, what was he thinking? Why would he just do that? Natasha, he probably didn't know what else to do. He sacrificed himself to stop it. Barton, yeah, it's the only way. Bruce Wayne, honestly, I think it's the only way to stop that thing. Zoro, what a man. He didn't hesitate. Ancient One, amazing. He gave his life for Earth. Feng Yuan, you were brave. Piccolo. We'll remember you. Diana, if we weren't separated by universes, I'd want to meet such a great warrior. Sun Wukong, relax, he's still Piccolo. He's the only one who could do that. Everyone stared at Sun Wukong, confused. Son Gohan, Dad, what do you mean? Sun Wukong, Gohan, you lived with Piccolo for so long, and you still don't know what he's capable of. Son Gohan, oh. Son Gohan grinned, finally understanding. The others were still lost. Meanwhile, the Shy Guy was tearing Piccolo to pieces. Not satisfied, it started devouring the remains. Seeing Piccolo destroyed, Krillin and the others were petrified. The Shy Guy covered his face and began to cry. It stopped killing and returned to its shy state. Everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. Piccolo, seriously, if you guys didn't force me to do this, I wouldn't have. Dying sucks. Piccolo's voice suddenly came over the screen, shocking everyone. Wasn't he dead? Naruto, Chopper, Usopp, and Nami, a ghost. Piccolo, don't yell, I'm not dead. The screen showed Piccolo's head. His head began to pulse and suddenly spurted blood from his chin, and then, a new body sprouted. The viewers were speechless. Piccolo, I have a strong regeneration ability. As long as my head is intact and I have enough energy, I can restore my body. Nobody knew what to say. He could do that? Now they understood Sun Wukong and Son Gohan's earlier conversation. He had to have regeneration abilities to risk that move. Good thing it was Piccolo facing the Shy Guy, or someone really would have died. Piccolo walked behind the still crying Shy Guy, his eyes narrowed, and he summoned a closed iron cage to trap the monster. Chapter 54 Piccolo regains his complete body and unleashes his potential. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luffy, what kind of move is that? He just conjured a cage out of nowhere. Strange, is that magic? Piccolo, I know a thing or two about conjuring. Ancient One, fascinating. He's powerful and uses magic. Your world is truly something else. Sun Wukong, leave it to Piccolo. He solved the problem like a champ. Piccolo, that shy freak was easy enough to trick, but the next thing will be tougher. Piccolo glanced at the sky. They were all beat. If the Scions showed up now, they'd be in deep trouble. Shy Guy successfully contained. Rewards being distributed now. Piccolo fully restored. Krillin, Tien Shinhan, Yamcha, Gohan, and Kaiatsu's potential unlocked. As soon as the announcement finished, Piccolo and the others felt a surge of energy. What is this power? Why am I suddenly so much stronger? It's endless. Krillin and the others stared at their bodies in disbelief. They felt like they were overflowing with power, barely able to control it. Their energy was gushing out. This sudden change floored them. Ag. Piccolo's voice boomed, and everyone felt that his energy output was far greater than theirs. What kind of power is this? I feel 10 times stronger. Piccolo gaped at his powerful physique, shocked that the link between him and Cammy seemed severed. Up in the sky, Cammy cried out, "What's going on? Why is my connection to Piccolo broken?" Cammy and Piccolo were once one being. Even separated, there was a connection. Now it was gone. This meant neither of them would be affected if the other died. Cammy looked terrified. Piccolo had obviously gained a massive power boost, and without anything to keep him in check, what if Piccolo went rogue? Could he still rely on Goku? Out in space, Vegeta stared at Earth, jaw dropped. His scouter clearly registered several power levels exceeding 10,000. 12,000, 13,000. Even 40,000. Impossible. How can they be stronger than me? Vegeta's mind was blown. Thanks to that weird barrier reward, the Earthling's power was now approaching his own. Worse, the Namekian was even stronger. The proud Scion Prince couldn't accept this. Diana, restored. This Piccolo guy, was there something wrong with his body? Was he incomplete or something? Piccolo, I don't owe you any explanations. But that Scion, Vegeta, you still planning to come? We're a lot stronger now. Vegeta, humph. You think that'll scare me? I'm the strongest Scion. Piccolo, don't forget, I still have Shy Guy up my sleeve. I can throw him in your face anytime. Vegeta, you. Vegeta seated at Piccolo's underhanded tactic. He knew from his scouter how dangerous Shy Guy was. How could he possibly win? Damn it, Namekians. Wait a minute. Just as Vegeta was losing it, he had an idea and sneered. Vegeta, you think I'm stupid? As long as I don't look, I'm fine. You guys sense power levels to fight, right? I can do that too. Piccolo's expression darkened. If Vegeta was determined and kept his eyes closed, Shy Guy would be useless. Vegeta, besides, don't think your power boost scares me. I still have a backup plan. Vegeta pressed his scouter. Nappa, you there? You see those power levels on Earth? Yeah, I see them. They're way stronger than me. One's even at 40,000. How are we supposed to fight that? Nappa's voice was filled with panic. He expected power levels of 1,000, tops. Now they suddenly skyrocketed to 10 or 40,000. That was way beyond his pay grade. Don't panic, Nappa. Act like a Scion. Vegeta snapped, disgusted by Nappa's cowardice. Even though he knew there were powerful fighters on Earth, his Scion pride wouldn't let him back down. Besides, he still might win. Nappa, don't forget what we Scions can really do. Vegeta said with a confident grin. Oh, right. We can transform into great apes and boost our power tenfold. We'll crush those guys. Nappa exclaimed excitedly. Those Earthlings will pay. Vegeta clenched his fists, his face turning savage. Over in Brooklyn, New York, Xie Yun got his reward. Shy Guy successfully contained. Congratulations to Xie Yun for receiving the reward. Acquire Shy Guy's immortality. No matter what kind of attack you take, even thrown into the sun, the host will not die. All injuries will be instantly healed. Xie Yun felt a shift in his body. Shy Guy's immortality. Overjoyed, Xie Yun jumped up. He summoned his carnivorous vines and slammed them against his arm, tearing off a chunk of flesh. The pain would be excruciating for anyone, and Xie Yun was no exception. Ag. That hurts. But after a couple of screams, the pain vanished. The wound had healed instantly, like nothing had happened. This power is incredible. Throwing me into the sun won't kill me. This is insane. Xie Yun was pumped. He now had the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. Figures, it's the Dragon Ball universe. They can even contain Shy Guy. However, be warned, if the host's bones are destroyed, they cannot be repaired, resulting in complete death. Just as Xie Yun was celebrating, the notification popped up. He froze. Death by broken bones? I remember a doctor in one of the containment universes used Shy Guy's ability to break its neck, then killed it with an injection. Xie Yun remembered that detail. Did this mean he had to be careful in the future to avoid running into Shy Guys? Hopefully, those shield guys won't let Shy Guy out. Xie Yun prayed. Chapter 55 Howard's Relics, Root Surveillance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Achoo! Nick Fury's sudden, loud sneeze startled Tony, who was getting a shot from Natasha. Hey, what's your problem? You sick or something? Go see a doctor, stat. Tony griped. He'd been hitting it off with the beautiful agent, and Fury had to interrupt. Sorry, I think someone's talking smack about me behind my back. Could it be you? Nick Fury said, giving him a sideways glance. You wish. I'd say it to your face. Tony Stark examined his skin, noticing the veins looked even darker. This is just delaying the palladium poisoning. You need to find a real cure. Natasha reminded him. Trust me, I know. But it's not that simple. I've tried every element under the sun, and nothing can replace it. Tony said, sounding defeated. It's not hopeless. Nick Fury pulled out a box and tossed it to Tony. This is something your father left behind. He stumbled across something new, and it might help you out. Do your own research, maybe you'll find something, maybe you won't. With that cryptic message, Nick Fury headed off to supervise the agents. Tony Stark was left completely baffled, unsure what Fury was implying. He stared at the box of his father's belongings, a million thoughts racing through his head as he debated whether to open it. **** Naruto World ****, Jiraiya and the others were on their way back to Konoha Village, taking a break to work with Naruto on his training. Ugh. I'm beat. This is way too hard. Naruto collapsed to his knees, exhausted. The nine-tailed fox's power was intense, and he could barely handle even a fraction of it. It was pushing his body to the limit. You little punk, my power isn't something you can just steal. But how are you even using my power without my permission? The nine-tailed fox roared inside Naruto, completely bewildered. Hey, no biggie. It is what it is, right? Let's just try to get along. Get along with you. As Naruto and the nine-tailed fox bickered, Jiraiya thought for a moment and then said, You're still too weak to control the nine-tailed fox's power. We need to start with the basics. How about helping me carry my luggage and increasing the weight you're carrying? You're just trying to be lazy. Naruto said suspiciously. Idiot. This is training. Yeah, right. You just want a free ride. Tsunade and Shizun watched the whole scene, amused. Tsunade just rolled her eyes at her two knucklehead apprentices, then, Tsunade's eyes suddenly widened as she spotted something behind them, and her expression turned icy. It caused a nearby bush to rustle. What's up? Jiraiya asked, waving his hands as he walked over. Naruto just got punched to the ground, ending their argument. Nothing much, just some unwanted company tailing us a little too close. Tsunade replied. It's probably Danzo. That guy's always wanted to be Hokage, but I'm pushing for you to take the spot. If you agree, with the Senju clan's reputation, no one will object, and that's bad news for him. Jiraiya said, his eyes fixed on the woods. Ha! I don't care what that jerk thinks. If he tries anything, he'll regret it. Tsunade said coldly. It's amazing that you can sense the root members hiding in the bushes, they're really good at concealing themselves. Sometimes I can't even find them. You've been drinking, too, but you're the first to notice them. Is it that conqueror's hockey acting up? Jiraiya asked, curious. Yeah, just like the voice said, it allows you to predict the movements of surrounding life. and there's even more potential. If you combine Haki and Chakra, who knows what could happen. Tsunade's voice was filled with excitement. This ability from another world had piqued her interest, and she couldn't wait to study it. The challenges ahead would only increase, and she needed to master it quickly. I'm still worried about Orochimaru. Jiraiya raised his head, a somber expression on his face. The sea virus turns people into monsters, and that guy will definitely take things too far. Jiraiya clenched his fists. If Orochimaru dared to cause trouble again, he would take him down for good. Orochimaru's secret base. A cocoon-like structure stood in the center of the room. Kabuto stood guard nearby. Crack, the next second, cracks appeared on the surface of the cocoon, and it exploded outward. A massive figure emerged, covered in strange tentacles and flesh, with eyes scattered across its body. Its hands and feet resembled dinosaur claws. Only the face was vaguely human. It was Orochimaru's. Lord Orochimaru. How are you feeling? Kabuto asked anxiously. Excellent. It seems I've truly evolved, shed my human skin completely. Orochimaru replied, examining his new form. But like this, can you even form hand seals? Kabuto didn't seem frightened by Orochimaru's monstrous appearance, but instead worried about practical matters. Don't worry, the sea virus doesn't just turn you into a mindless monster. Orochimaru smirked. With a thought, his body quickly shrunk, the tentacles and eyes retracting, and he reverted to his original human form. I can switch between human and monster forms at will. In my human form, I can fully utilize ninjutsu, Orochimaru said, looking at his arm with great satisfaction. Furthermore, the virus has increased my physical and mental strength to unprecedented levels. The chakra I can gather is many times greater than before. If I ever cross paths with that old man again, I'll finish him off in an instant. Orochimaru's eyes blazed with fervor. The scientist who used to obsess over ninjutsu now truly wanted to study this magical virus. He was eager to explore its limits and the possibilities that arose when fused with ninjutsu. The thought sparked a torrent of incredible ideas in Orochimaru's mind. Kabuto, how's the copy you made based on my blood and your research coming along? Orochimaru asked, looking at Kabuto. In order to study the sea virus, he had specially used his own blood for research, even creating a copy of the sea virus for mass production. The results are promising, and it has significant variability, but it's uncertain whether it's controllable and if the human body can tolerate it, Kabuto replied immediately. Then experimentation is in order. And don't we have plenty of test subjects available? Chapter 56 Changes in Each World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Orochimaru scoffed. He had all the test subjects he could ever want. He could feel the sea virus coursing through him, unlocking endless possibilities. He wondered how many new tricks he could discover. Lord Orochimaru, Kabuto asked, his curiosity piqued, what about Sasuke? Originally, we wanted his body. Is that still the plan? Of course, Orochimaru replied, a cruel smile twisting his lips, his Sharingan still holds my interest. He glanced down at his own body. Besides, the sea virus mutation is unique to each individual. I'm fascinated to see how Sasuke, with his bloodline limit, exceptional talent, and hatred for Itachi, will transform under its influence. If he surpasses me in power, then he'll be worthy of the vessel. Orochimaru's voice was laced with fanaticism, his smile downright terrifying. Doraemon World Nobita, now armed with his first-year Hogwarts course, immediately dove into his studies, eager to become a wizard, but it was proving to be unbelievably difficult. Wingardium Leviosa. Nobita waved his wand and chanted the spell at a book, but nothing happened. Nobita, the book says your incantation needs the right emphasis, and you can't wave the wand too hard. Doraemon studied the notes carefully. The handwriting was beautiful, and the explanations were clear and concise, making the magic easy to understand. The owner of this book was definitely a straight-A student, and a neat one at that. Ugh! I can't do this anymore. Why do I even need magic? Can't I just learn one spell and be done with it? Nobita groaned, throwing his hands up in exasperation. He thought he'd master magic and show off, but he was stuck on the basics. He thought waving a wand and saying a spell would be a breeze, but it was way harder than he imagined. It was enough to make him, who hated studying, completely lose it. Come on, Nobita. You have to practice to get good. If you don't try, you'll never learn anything. Doraemon shook his head in disappointment. Doraemon, can't you use one of your gadgets to help me learn faster? Nobita pleaded. Nope. Nothing I have can instantly make you a wizard. Doraemon flatly refused. Besides, this is good for you. If you don't learn how to figure things out for yourself, you'll never get anywhere in life. Doraemon began his usual lecture. Nobita completely ignored him and started flipping through another book. What are you looking at now? Doraemon asked, suspicious. This potion book. No spells needed, just ingredients. It's perfect for me. Nobita held up the book with a grin. Doraemon sighed. Nobita, we don't have any of those ingredients in our world. Oh, right. Nobita realized his mistake and yelped in dismay. Nobita. What's all that noise? Have you finished your homework? His mother's voice boomed from downstairs. Nobita froze. He'd forgotten all about his homework. He was doomed. Doraemon. Leo world Since Gunter's had shown up, the star clusters were immediately grilled about its origins. They quickly spun a tall tale, claiming it was a gift from alien friends, doing their best to deceive everyone. The Mac executives tentatively bought the story and wanted to take Gunter's back for research. However, the problem was that only the star clusters could use the controller, nobody else could operate it or decipher it. So, the star clusters would have to oversee the research, ensuring it was only used against monsters and cosmic beings. After dealing with the higher-ups, the star clusters went to find General. He was training with the Kaioken technique alone. Gen was lying on the ground, completely exhausted. How's the Kaioken training coming? The star clusters asked, looking down at him. The side effects are brutal. My body can barely handle even doubling the power. Gen panted. Then you need to keep up with your basic training. Leo's strength depends on your physical condition, so you need to train harder. When the star clusters mentioned training, they perked up, their eyes gleaming strangely. This made the exhausted Gen shudder. Now, for the next containment prediction. The screen flickered to life. Everyone turned to look. The screen was said to be magical. It followed them everywhere and was invisible to others, making it easy to watch and work at the same time. Red Sea World. The words appeared on the screen, followed by a red object that looked like a CD. Normally, seeing a CD like this, no one would think twice. But after witnessing the terrifying effects of the 3D glasses, no one dared to underestimate any seemingly harmless object. This object was found on a red beach, along with a body. We don't know what the relationship is between the body and the disc. At first, we thought it was an ordinary disc, but when it started moving on its own, we realized something was off. A picture appeared on the screen. The disc was rolling around on its own, heading towards a mirror. This disc actively seeks out mirrors, or anything that provides a clear reflection. If there are no mirrors nearby, it will travel far to find one, and it gets faster and faster. The picture changed to show researchers dropping the red disc on a grassy field. The disc immediately started rolling, moving rapidly in one direction. As it traveled further, its speed increased dramatically, making it almost impossible to see. Finally, it crossed fields, highways, and mountains, found a populated area, and stuck itself to a mirror inside a building. During this journey, the disc caused considerable damage, penetrating trees and rocks. It was clear that it would never stop until it found a mirror to attach to. Everyone watched in surprise, confused about the disc's purpose. Why was it searching for mirrors? According to our observations, when the red disc attaches to a mirror, the reflection changes and shows a world that doesn't belong to our own. We then conducted holding experiments with people and found that the color of the disc will change when different people hold it. Chapter 57 Another World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This CD comes in 5 colors, red, yellow, blue, green, and purple. The disc's color reflects the mental state, emotions, and such of whoever's holding it. At first, we didn't understand the meaning of the colors or how the disc affected the mirror's image. Then one day, something unexpected happened. 2 researchers were arguing in the lab about who was paying for lunch. The argument got so heated, they almost came to blows. One of them was experimenting with a CD and, when shoved, accidentally pressed it against the mirror. Incredibly, the researcher passed right through the mirror into another world. That's when we realized the disc was a doorway. Anyone holding the disc and pressing it to the mirror could cross over. Further studies showed that each colored disc seemed to lead to a different location in this other world. Or rather, different areas within it. The significance of that isn't yet clear. So, we decided to send people in to investigate. Everyone watching shifted in their seats, a portal to another world. Nick Fury: so, this disc can travel to another world? Is it like some kind of souped-up 3D glasses? Warring states: are there monsters over there? Could they come through the mirror? Tsunade, you'll see soon enough. The screen continued. When the Foundation learned the disc's true potential, they immediately formed a mobile task force to explore this new world and see what was there. However, this world wasn't what we expected. It was a desolate wasteland filled with ruins, like it had been through some kind of massive war. But that wasn't the worst of it. The most terrifying thing was the native inhabitants. The screen changed, revealing a group of colossal creatures. They had green skin, stood between 50 and 100 meters tall, and looked 50 times bigger than a human. Their features were brutal and definitely not human. Strangely, they had no lower bodies, seeming to use their enormous arms to support themselves. Our first encounter with these things was terrifying. We had no idea such huge creatures existed, making every move a challenge. We had to be constantly cautious, hiding ourselves. God knows what would happen if they spotted us. Luckily, their height makes it hard for them to see us. We can actually walk out in the open and be pretty sure they won't notice. Plus, they move slowly. At first, we thought we could outrun them if we had to. We soon learned how wrong we were. The mobile task force members crept forward, cautiously. 2 of the giant creatures passed them on either side, their arms swinging, but didn't see them. It was like humans walking past bugs without noticing. As long as this kept up, the MTF would be relatively safe, but their luck didn't last. Clang! Clang! A task force member accidentally kicked a can, making a loud noise. Whoa! Several members gasped. They'd been so quiet, so focused, for so long. The sudden noise startled them badly. Someone almost fired their weapon. Sorry. The MTF member apologized quickly. Keep it down. Another member hissed, reminding them they were being too loud. Boom! A massive thud shook the ground violently. The task force members whirled around to see the giant creature that had just passed them turning around, looking down. Fall back. Now, the team leader gave the order, and they all sprinted back towards the mirror. They didn't know what was coming, but getting out of there was the only option. They thought the creature's size and slowness would give them plenty of time to escape. They were dead wrong. Reag. The giant creature roared, sending out a shockwave that shattered nearby buildings. It pushed off with its arms, its huge body blurring as it moved faster than seemed possible for something so big. Boom! It smashed through everything in its path. The monster crashed into the mobile task force members, blocking their way and swinging its massive fist. Boom! The punch was so powerful, it cracked the ground. By the time the dust settled, several task force members were smears on the ground. Fire! The others, terrified, finally understood how dangerous this creature was. They opened fire, launching grenades and rockets, trying to hurt it, but their weapons had no effect. Bullets and explosions just seemed to chip off bits of skin. Boom! Explosions erupted from all around. Other giant creatures, originally some distance away, had heard the noise and were rushing towards them, moving with surprising speed. smashing through buildings, and shaking the ground. They roared, a terrifying sound. The remaining mobile task force members looked grim. They knew, now, how wrong they'd been. Surrounded by these monsters, their chances of survival were zero. Their only accomplishment was keeping the real-time camera running until the end, sending the footage back to their world as a warning. Chapter 58. Continue to explore despite sacrifice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing this, the crowd reacted with surprise, their expressions shifting. Tony Stark, what are these things? They're huge and fast. And they're walking on their hands. That's just not right. Vegeta, so what? Size and speed? Plenty of strong people are big and fast. Getting weaker the faster you go. Now that's just dumb. Odin, I'm inclined to agree. I've seen similar creatures before. Natasha, the real question is, what's with this world? How did these things end up everywhere? Bruce Wayne, could it be an alien invasion? Did these things wipe out the entire human race in that world? Nick Fury, very possible. How else do you explain what we're seeing? Feng Yuan, you monsters. Invading like this? Nami, if that's the case, can they come through the mirror and into the shelter? If people can go there, why not them? Jiraiya, no way. They're way too big to fit. While everyone was busy speculating, the screen continued to show what happened. After learning about the situation, the shelter's higher-ups immediately launched focused research. Some wanted to cut off all exploration, while others argued that exploration must continue to prevent a similar crisis in the future. After some debate, they decided to dispatch a mobile task force to investigate the world, designating it Red Sea World. Nobita, no way. They're actually sending more people. Aren't they afraid to die? Nick Fury, kid, you don't get it. The greater the danger, the greater the need to understand it. If something like this happens in your world and you're unprepared, you're toast. Sengoku, exactly. If it were me, I'd send the Navy to scout the area. Nobita, but, what if they die? Sengoku, sacrifice is inevitable. We will remember them. They're heroes working for peace. Nobita was stunned by these harsh words. He was suddenly confronted with the cruel realities of the adult world. Seeing Nobita's silence, everyone else fell quiet too. They knew he was just a kid, that it would take time for him to process this. The more they saw, the better he would understand. Nobita, some things just require sacrifice. Doraemon sighed and tried to comfort Nobita. Is there no way to prevent them from being sacrificed? Nobita asked. Well, they aren't in our world, and I don't know anything about that world. Doraemon looked at the screen. If it were him, he'd just use his gadgets instead of sacrificing lives. At that moment, another mobile task force entered the Red Sea World on screen, but this time, there was a change. It seemed that the color of the disc determined the area entered. Some landed in hills, others on the coast, some in cities, and others in rural areas. If it weren't for those giant monsters being everywhere, the researchers would have thought that the different colors connected to different worlds. Everyone was baffled by the importance of the disc colors. Why did the same world come out in different places? What did it all mean? No one had any idea. The only constant was the mobile task force continuing to explore, learning from previous mistakes. The team members were extremely cautious. Every move was carefully calculated to avoid making a sound. Their weapons were silenced, their clothes were soundproofed, and they wore special tactical camouflage to avoid being spotted by the creatures, and it worked. They managed to move quite a distance without being detected. The unchanging scenery made everyone feel depressed. They didn't know if they would find anything of value or if they would become lost the further they went, but they had no choice. They had their orders. Finally, they saw a complete structure, a tall tower that appeared to have some sort of advanced technology. Seeing the tower lifted the spirits of the disheartened team members. They decided to go inside and explore. The only complete building might hold valuable information, but there was a problem. The tower was surrounded by the giant creatures. Passing under their feet would be incredibly risky. Failure meant certain detection and being torn to shreds. The team members hesitated. unable to bring themselves to move forward. Keep going. We must find out what's in there. That just as they hesitated, orders came over the comms. This threw them into further disarray. They took a deep breath and began searching for a route that could get them past the monsters and into the tower. Naruto, are you kidding me? What's wrong with whoever gave that order? He doesn't know the situation and just gives out orders without thinking. Kizaru, oh, yeah, I agree. That's kinda crazy. Diana, even with the desire to learn more, you can't be so reckless. There needs to be a proper plan. Nick Fury, I agree, but how do you plan that? Use a bait tactic to lure them away. At the speed of those things, even more people will die. Tony Stark, hey, aren't you always doing stuff like this? Giving orders that make no sense. Barton, yeah, pretty much. Nick Fury, Barton. Watch your mouth. I'm not that reckless. Akainu, how can you uphold justice if you aren't willing to make sacrifices? Naruto, what kind of justice sacrifices subordinates on a whim? Akainu, shut up. Justice is ruthless. Tsuna Moriboshi, justice is ruthless? What a load of garbage. Akainu, what did you say? Sengoku, enough, Akainu. Stop arguing. Leo World, Tsuna Moriboshi looked at the screen, clearly dissatisfied. How could Akainu say such a thing? That justice is ruthless crap. Sacrificing lives like that made him no better than evil. What kind of leader treats his subordinates like sacrifices? Zhu Xingtuan said angrily, but Feng Yuan, standing nearby, had a strange expression. Chapter 59 The Truth About the Red Sea World, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Feng Yuan couldn't help but stare at the captain, a strange look in his eyes. He remembered this guy giving insane orders that got team members killed, or torturing him in all sorts of ways. This asterisk was the person calling him incompetent. Seriously? Zhu Xingtuan sensed Feng Yuan's gaze and snapped his head around. Feng Yuan immediately looked away and started cranking out push-ups. While everyone else was strategizing, the mobile task force was already moving. They decided to send someone in solo to draw the monster's attention. This poor sap was supposed to sprint to a nearby building and start taking potshots at the creatures with a sniper rifle. The rifle wouldn't do any real damage, of course. The whole point was to be a distraction. Roar! 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 And it worked like a charm. The monster spotted the sniper in the distance and charged, tearing through buildings and smashing the ground. They were closing in fast. The sniper was clearly terrified, but he kept firing, drawing as many monsters as he could. Meanwhile, the rest of the mobile task force made a break for the tower. Boom, the building the sniper was in exploded. He was dragged out, ripped to shreds, and devoured, not even a scrap left between their teeth. The monsters, having finished their snack, turned toward the tower just in time to see the mobile task force advancing. Roar! 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 Enraged by the sight of the invaders, they roared and charged, their massive arms pumping as they lumbered toward them. Go! 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 The mobile task force members scrambled, knowing they had to reach the tower no matter what. Roar! 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 In a flash, the monsters were upon them, surrounding the team, hunting them down. Blood sprayed everywhere. It looked like a total wipeout, but then the camera cut to a member of the mobile task force, sprawled behind a door inside the tower, gasping for air. He was the only one who'd made it. His designation, C-123. C-123 struggled to his feet and peered out the window. The creatures outside seemed oblivious to his presence, wandering aimlessly. He let out a shaky breath. Respect to the fallen. C-123 didn't dwell on the horror or his isolation. He snapped to attention, saluted the door, and turned to press on. He had a mission, and he was going to figure out what was going on in this crazy world. The tower was a maze of rooms and floors. Luckily, there were no traps or security systems. C-123 explored unhindered, but he found nothing of use until he reached what looked like a control room. The computer in the control room was still humming, so C-123 decided to dig around. He was in luck. He stumbled onto something big. My name is, I am an agent of the Conservancy, and my world is in 1972. Xie 123's jaw dropped. He immediately grabbed his radio. The phrase, "my world," indicates this agent is from a parallel universe. If the transmission continues, there may be important information. Xie 123 quickly scrolled through the text, uncovering a string of disturbing facts. In this world, I'm assuming it's similar to my own, everything went to hell around 1954. I've used that weird disk to travel to different parts of the world. Everything starts and ends here. I've seen landscapes stripped bare. I've run from the unclean ones, those things that chase whatever they sense. I don't know how they hunt, but I know what they are. About 350 years ago, this world experienced a technological boom unlike anything we've ever seen. It all seems to stem from the arrival of him, a godlike being of unknown origin. He claimed the world was unclean and full of sin, and the only way to purify it was to purify the sinners. After a war, whoever survives is pure. Over the next 10 years, all civilizations focused on developing their technology in preparation for this war. Then, he vanished. Regardless, the war went ahead, instigated by the Holy United States, similar to our United States. Records from this period are patchy, and books detailing it have been banned. By piecing together fragmented computer systems, I've managed to find a cache of historical data. Apparently, the basic weapon used in this war, for his love, was actually humans exposed to a liquid compound called, his holy tears. I found traces of this compound in several abandoned medical facilities. Sacred tears can cleanse the impure from sin and make them love God, or so the propaganda claims. The recovered records say vague things about saints crossing the land to bring sinners to justice, saying that those who resist his love are purified by his radiance. But something went wrong, something irreversible. The unholy ones are giant, semi-humanoid creatures that devour anything living they can get their hands on. I found a scientific research report written by someone else who stumbled into this place. These creatures are the result of exposure to a highly concentrated form of God's tears, which resulted in extreme genetic mutations. There are terms here like quantum recombination and so on. I don't understand the science, but it seems these things were once human, like us. They can't be controlled, but they can be contained. They're drawn to the tears of God. So, in the center of each area, they established a station where someone would stay, surrounded by the purest tears of God, to keep the unclean ones contained within this dry place. Chapter 60 The Truth About the Red Sea World, Part 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Something went sideways with that stuff, nobody knows why, and everything went to hell, power grids, civilization, people, all gone, reduced to rubble. And these unclean things, shambling around, they became the new rulers of the wasteland, just wandering aimlessly. If you can stomach the stink, you can stand right next to one and it'll just shuffle past, but if they see you, you're toast. They can move like lightning when they need to, but mostly they just creep along like snails. Sometimes they're just chasing something, other times they're hunting. I think there's someone, or something, holed up in this facility. I keep hearing voices and requests coming from downstairs. Before I go any further, I'm getting rid of this thing. I shoved the disc back through the mirror I came through, sealing the entrance. We can't let these things into our world, and we shouldn't be messing with stuff we don't understand. We're not ready. I don't think these unclean things can die. They're immortal, but they don't want to be. They just want it to end. In my head, I just noticed the equipment in this room is showing me things. The stuff on the screen is begging for help. Me. I remember touching tears of God, smelling it, tasting it, just touching it. I didn't eat it. I just touched it, tasted the acid. Man, our investigation was a total clown show. Ha ha ha. The head priests are still alive. They've got tech straight out of comic books. Thanks to him, some records on this machine mentioned space travel, but they didn't go far. Just far enough to watch the world burn and wait to come back and take over. But if they all leave, who's with me in this building? I saw their faces, the unclean ones. They're in the photos the machine printed, in the same room as me, looking right at me. I guess they're everywhere, but only these machines can see them. They don't look sad or happy, just curious. They want to know, why them, why is this happening? I don't know. I really don't. When I encountered them, they showed me things different from the records. The unclean remember everything, and everyone they touch becomes part of them. They're safe inside, but lost to us, all thoughts, all feelings, all fears, they're eternal. Part of me wants to join them, but there's too much to do. They want me to find him and kill him. There's no war. It's all because of him. It comes from the cracks between light and dark in spacetime. It shouldn't have entered this world. They called it a god, worshipped it, tasted it, touched it, lived with it, became its slaves, did its bidding, and it's still here. It brought that disk. It forced its way in, built it. I don't know if they knew, but it belongs to it. It uses it to travel between worlds, so I destroyed it. Ha 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 ha. I threw the pieces away and went through the hole, sealing the doors to those worlds, just like our own. I can't go home. What else can I do? It's coming out of the stone. Somehow, it knows where they are but can't reach them. But if you hide the stone, you can't get out and you're stuck. I found you. You son of a bitch, I got you. Bang. Bang. Ha. I met him, with my fist. And guns. He went down. But he'll get up. Soon. I'm sorry, I did everything I could. Now, let me sleep. Please, let me sleep.